can't believe you! I saw the messages!
It's not what you think it is!
Don't lie to me! We are done!
I was scraping wallpaper off our bedroom wall at 11:30 on a Tuesday night when I heard my wife giggling like a teenager in the next room. Not the kind of laugh I'd heard in years. This was breathy, excited, the sound she used to make when we first met, back when I wasn't boring old wallpaper. "Oh, Derek, you're so bad," Veronica whispered into her phone, thinking I couldn't hear through these paper-thin walls. "Rob's just stripping wallpaper again. God, he's like watching paint dry." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I paused, scraper in hand, listening to my wife of 18 years trash me to some guy named Derek. The irony wasn't lost on me. Here I was, literally stripping our bedroom bare while she stripped away what was left of our marriage. "The Cancun trip is going to be amazing," she continued. "Just us girls, finally getting away from all this suburban boredom." Right, girls' trip, because Derek was apparently short for Dereka now. My phone buzzed. A text from our 17-year-old daughter, Angela. "Posted a new TikTok. Dad, you're gonna be famous, LOL." I clicked the link and watched my kid tell her 3,000 followers that I was literally the most boring human alive, and that Mom totally deserves better than this wallpaper scraping zombie. The comments were brutal. "Your dad looks empty inside. Feel bad for your mom. Time for a divorce?" I set the phone down and went back to scraping. Each strip of old wallpaper peeled away like layers of my old life. Funny how therapeutic destruction could be. "Rob," Veronica called from the living room. "Can you keep it down? I'm trying to plan my vacation." Our vacation, I wanted to correct, but apparently I wasn't invited to my own marriage anymore. I'd built my home repair business from nothing, started with a beat-up truck and a toolbox, worked my way up to a crew of 8 guys and more jobs than I could handle. But somehow, next to Veronica's law firm salary and her fancy friends, I always felt like the hired help in my own house. The next morning, Veronica announced over coffee that we should take separate vacations this year. "Separate vacations?" I asked, watching her scroll through her phone instead of looking at me. "You know, space to think, figure things out. I'm going to Cancun with the girls. You can do whatever boring thing you want to do." Angela nodded enthusiastically. "Dad, you could finally organize the garage like you've been threatening to do for years." "Threatening?" I repeated. "Right." Veronica was already back to her phone, typing furiously, probably telling Derek about her brilliant separate vacation idea. "When do you leave?" I asked. "Friday. I'll be gone for 10 days. 10 days. Plenty of time." That afternoon, I called my contractor buddy, Jerome. We'd worked together for 15 years. He was the only guy I trusted with both power tools and secrets. "Jerome, remember when you said if I ever wanted to redo the master bedroom, you'd help?" "Yeah, man. Veronica finally coming around to the renovation?" "Something like that. She's going out of town Friday. Think we can gut that room and rebuild it in 10 days? "Rob, we could rebuild the whole damn house in 10 days if we wanted." "What's the real story?" "Let's just say I'm ready to make some changes." Yeah, it's Friday morning. Veronica wheeled her oversized suitcase to the door. She'd packed enough clothes for a month, including lingerie I hadn't seen since our honeymoon. "Have fun organizing," she said, giving me a perfunctory kiss on the cheek. "Try not to burn the house down." "I'll do my best," I said, watching her Uber pull up. Through the window, I could see the driver, young, muscular, with a car dealership polo shirt. Derek, I presumed. As soon as her taillights disappeared, I called Jerome. "It's showtime." We started with the master bedroom. Everything that screamed Veronica. The throw pillows, the decorative mirrors, the collection of scented candles that made the room smell like a Bath and Body Works explosion, went into boxes. Her side of the walk-in closet got emptied into the guest room. "You sure about this, Rob?" Jerome asked, hauling out a box of her shoes. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. We ripped out the carpet, sanded the hardwood underneath, and painted the walls a deep blue instead of her preferred beige. I installed new locks on the bedroom door and the front door, changed the garage door code, added a deadbolt to my home office. By Sunday, the room looked completely different. Masculine. Mine. I was admiring our work when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. The message contained a single photo, grainy, taken from a distance, but clear enough. Veronica and Derek in a motel parking lot, his hands all over her ass as they stumbled toward a room. The text below read, "You're not the only one making changes, Bobby. Some secrets are worth sharing." I stared at the photo for a long moment, then deleted it. I didn't need photographic evidence of what I already knew, but someone else clearly thought I did. Someone else was playing this game too. The anonymous photo should have devastated me. Instead, it was liberating. No more wondering, no more second-guessing myself, no more pretending I didn't know what those late-night work calls were really about. I spent the rest of Veronica's trip turning our house into my house. Jerome and I installed a home gym in the basement, complete with a heavy bag I'd been wanting for years. We converted her craft room into a proper workshop. The guest bathroom got a urinal, because why the hell not? "Your wife's going to lose her mind," Jerome said, tightening the bolts on my new weight bench. That's the general idea. The neighborhood was buzzing with gossip. Mrs. Patterson from next door kept finding excuses to walk by while we hauled construction debris to the dumpster. "Spring cleaning?" she asked with fake innocence. "Something like that," I replied, carrying out a box labeled Veronica's Romance Novels. By Wednesday, I'd found Veronica's real stash, hidden in the back of the linen closet like a teenage boy's porn collection. Receipts for expensive dinners I'd never eaten, hotel charges from business trips that didn't match her calendar, and a Victoria's Secret bag with tags still attached. Size medium. Veronica wore large. I photographed everything, then put it all back exactly where I found it. Evidence for later. Angela called Thursday night, her voice bright with vacation excitement. "Dad, Mom's having such an amazing time. She looks so happy in all her Instagram posts. You should check them out." I already had. Veronica's social media had exploded with beach photos, cocktail shots, and group selfies with her girls. Derek wasn't in any of the pictures, but I could see his reflection in her sunglasses in at least 3 shots. "That's great, honey. I'm happy she's having fun." "Are you okay, Dad? You sound weird." "Just tired. Been doing some work around the house." "Oh, God. Please tell me you're not reorganizing the spice rack again." "Nothing like that. You'll see when you get home." Friday afternoon, I was putting the finishing touches on my newly reclaimed space when I heard a car door slam in the driveway. Through the window, I watched Veronica struggle with her suitcase, her skin bronzed and her hair lighter. She looked good, relaxed. She tried her key in the front door. It didn't work. I watched through the peephole as she tried again, then started pounding on the door. Rob, open up. My key isn't working." I opened the door slowly, taking in her confused expression. "Hey, welcome home. How was your trip?" "Why doesn't my key work?" "Oh, I had the locks changed. Security upgrade. Come on in." She pushed past me, dragging her suitcase. "You changed the locks without telling me?" "I figured you'd appreciate the improved security. You're always worried about break-ins." She headed straight for the bedroom, then stopped in the doorway. "What the hell did you do to our room?" "You said you wanted space to think. I thought you'd appreciate having your own space." I gestured toward the guest room. "I moved your things so you wouldn't have to worry about disturbing my sleep schedule." The guest room looked like a storage unit. Her clothes were crammed into a single dresser, her decorative items stacked in corners, her shoes piled in boxes. "You moved my things? Without asking me." "You were busy. I didn't want to interrupt your girls' trip." Her face was turning red, that familiar pre-explosion flush I'd seen 1,000 times. "This is my house too, Rob." "Of course it is. That's why I made sure you have your own space. No more fighting over closet room or bathroom counter space. Problem solved." She stormed back to the master bedroom, taking in the blue walls, the masculine furniture, the complete absence of anything feminine. "Change it back." "Change what back?" "All of it. The paint, the furniture, my things. Change it back right now." "I don't think so. I like it this way." That's when she called the police. Officer Harris showed up 20 minutes later, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. He was a decent guy who'd responded to domestic calls at the Patterson house enough times to know how these things went. "What seems to be the problem here?" Veronica launched into a breathless explanation about locks in bedrooms and unauthorized renovations. I waited patiently for her to finish. "Sir?" Harris turned to me. "My wife said she wanted space to think about our marriage. She took a 10-day vacation to consider her options. I used that time to give her exactly what she asked for, her own space. I renovated our shared bedroom and set up the guest room as her private area. I changed the locks for security reasons, which is my right as a homeowner." Harris nodded slowly. "Ma'am, is your name on the deed?" "Well, yes, but—" "And sir, you didn't deny her access to the property?" "Of course not. I opened the door as soon as she knocked." "And ma'am, do you have a place to sleep and store your belongings?" Veronica's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "The guest room is fully furnished with a bed, dresser, and closet space," I finished helpfully. Harris looked between us. "Folks, this sounds like a civil matter. Sir, I'd recommend giving your wife a new key. Ma'am, I'd recommend marriage counseling." After he left, Veronica stood in the living room, shaking with rage. You think you're so clever. I think I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. I never asked for this. You asked for space. You asked for separate vacations. You asked to figure things out. I'm just helping the process along. She grabbed her phone and started typing furiously. Within minutes, my own phone was buzzing with notifications. A group text from Veronica's friends, all of them suddenly very concerned about my controlling behavior and emotional abuse. The messages kept coming. Veronica deserves better. We always knew you were a creep. We're watching you. I screenshot every message, then turned off my phone. Feel better? I asked. She was already dialing someone else. Derek, can you come over? I need you. Derek, of course. 20 minutes later, a silver BMW pulled into my driveway. The man who got out looked exactly like I'd expected. Gym muscles, spray tan, the kind of guy who wore cologne to the grocery store. He strutted up to my front door like he owned the place. I opened it before he could knock. You must be Derek. I'm Rob. Nice to finally meet you. His confident expression faltered. Yeah, Veronica called. She's upset. She's having a hard time adjusting to change. But that's natural during a separation. Separation? Oh, she didn't tell you? We're taking some time apart to figure things out. She's been staying in the guest room while she decides what she wants. I could see the wheels turning in his head. This wasn't the story he'd been told. Maybe I should go, he said. Nonsense. Come in. Veronica's in her room. I led him through the house, making sure he got a good look at the family photos still hanging on the walls, the wedding picture on the mantel, the mortgage statements addressed to both our names scattered strategically on the kitchen counter. Veronica, I called. Derek's here. She emerged from the guest room looking embarrassed and furious. Derek, this is my husband, Rob. Rob, this is my friend Derek. Friend, I repeated, nodding thoughtfully. That's nice. Veronica needs good friends during this difficult time. The three of us stood there in awkward silence until Derek's phone rang. I have to take this, he mumbled, stepping outside. Through the window, I watched him pace the driveway, talking animatedly into his phone. When he came back in, his whole demeanor had changed. Veronica, I think maybe we should talk later, when you're more settled. Derek, wait. But he was already heading for the door. Call me when things are less complicated. After he left, Veronica turned on me with pure hatred in her eyes. What did you say to him? Nothing but the truth. We're married. You live here. You're going through a difficult time and need support from your friends. He's not just a friend. I know. The admission hung in the air between us. No more pretending, no more games. I want a divorce, she said, then file for one. But until then, these are the house rules. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. Veronica had spent the night waging a social media war against me, painting herself as the victim of my sudden personality change and controlling behavior. Her Instagram story was a masterpiece of manipulation. Photos of the guest room with captions like, came home to find my husband, moved me out of our bedroom, and feeling so lost and confused right now. The comments section was a feeding frenzy. Her friends and coworkers expressing outrage, offering spare bedrooms, suggesting lawyers. A few of my own friends had even chimed in, asking if I was going through something. I made coffee and scrolled through the digital assassination of my character while Veronica slammed drawers in the guest room, getting ready for work. My phone rang. Jerome. Dude, what the hell is going on? My wife is showing me Facebook posts about you being some kind of psycho. I'm the same guy I was last week. The only thing that's changed is that I stopped pretending not to know my wife is cheating on me. Shit. For real? For real. She spent her Cancun trip with some car salesman named Derek. Now she's mad that I redecorated our bedroom while she was gone. That's it? That's what all this drama is about? Apparently, I was supposed to sit around feeling sorry for myself while she figured out whether she wanted to leave me for her boyfriend. Jerome laughed. Man, these women are crazy. You need anything? Actually, yeah. Can you swing by later? I want to install some security cameras. After Veronica left for work, slamming every door in the house, I drove to Angela's school. She had a volleyball game that evening, and I wanted to make sure I got there early enough to talk to her before Veronica could poison that relationship too. I found Angela in the gym, warming up with her team. When she saw me, her expression was guarded. Dad, what are you doing here so early? Wanted to catch your warm-up. How's school? She glanced around nervously. It's fine. Dad, are you and Mom getting divorced? Why would you ask that? Because Mom's been crying all morning and posting weird stuff online, and half my friends are asking if you're having a mental breakdown. I sat down on the bleachers and patted the spot next to me. Angela reluctantly joined me. Your mom and I are having some problems, but that doesn't mean I'm having a mental breakdown. She said you changed all the locks and moved her stuff without asking. I did. Do you know why? Angela shook her head. Because your mom has been lying to both of us. Her girls' trip to Cancun, she went with a man named Derek. They're having an affair. My daughter's face went through several expressions: shock, disbelief, and finally a kind of resigned sadness. Are you sure? I'm sure. So what happens now? Now your mom has to decide what she wants, and I'm not going to make it easy for her to have both a husband and a boyfriend. Angela was quiet for a long moment. Is that why you've been so weird lately? All the home improvement stuff and the working out? I haven't been weird. I've been preparing. For what? For whatever comes next. The game went well. Angela's team won, and she played great. Veronica showed up halfway through the second set, sliding into the bleachers on the opposite side of the gym. She spent more time on her phone than watching the game, probably coordinating her victim narrative with her support network. After the game, Angela hugged both of us, but I noticed she held on to me a little longer. Good game, kiddo, I said. Thanks, Dad. For coming early, I mean, and for telling me the truth. Veronica overheard and shot me a look that could have melted steel. In the parking lot, she cornered me by my truck. How dare you drag Angela into this? I didn't drag her into anything. She asked me a direct question, and I gave her an honest answer. She's 17 years old. Old enough to handle the truth, unlike some people. You're trying to turn her against me. I don't have to try. Your actions are doing that just fine. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. I will destroy you, Rob. I'll take this house, half your business, and full custody of Angela. You'll have nothing. Maybe, but you'll have to explain Derek to a judge first. Her confidence wavered slightly. What's that supposed to mean? It means divorce courts don't look kindly on adultery, especially when there's evidence. What evidence? I smiled and got in my truck. Have a good evening, Veronica. Try not to stay up too late texting your boyfriend. That night, I was installing Jerome's security cameras when my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Check your email. I opened my laptop and found a message with no subject line and an attachment. The attachment contained a dozen photos. Veronica and Derek at restaurants, holding hands in his car, entering and leaving the same motel room on 3 different occasions. The email address was clearly fake, but whoever sent it had been following my wife for weeks, maybe months. I forwarded the photos to a secure folder and deleted the original email. Then I sat back and thought about who might want to help me document Veronica's affair. The answer came to me around midnight when another text arrived from the same unknown number. Meet me at the Rusty Nail tomorrow at 8 p.m. Come alone. We need to talk. I knew only one person who had both the motivation and the resources to conduct surveillance on my wife. Melissa. Veronica's best friend, her maid of honor, the woman who'd been coming to our house for dinner every Friday night for the past 5 years, the woman I'd fired from my company 3 years ago for stealing materials and lying about her hours. The Rusty Nail was exactly the kind of bar where you went to have conversations you didn't want anyone to remember. Dim lighting, cash only, and a clientele that minded their own business. Melissa was already there when I arrived, sitting in a corner booth with her back to the wall. She looked different than she had at our Friday night dinners, harder, more calculating. The friendly mask was gone. Hello, Rob. Melissa, should I thank you for the photos or ask why you've been stalking my wife? She laughed, a sound with no warmth in it. Straight to the point. I always liked that about you, right up until you fired me. You were stealing from me. I was taking what I earned. You underpaid me for 2 years. You were taking materials from job sites and selling them. I had receipts. Ancient history. She waved dismissively. We have bigger problems now. We don't have any problems. You and I aren't friends. No, but we have a common enemy. She slid a manila folder across the table. Inside were more photos, bank statements, credit card bills, and what looked like private investigator reports. Your wife has been very busy, Melissa said. The Derek thing is just the tip of the iceberg. I flipped through the documents. Hotel charges going back 8 months, restaurant bills for expensive places I'd never been to, cash withdrawals from our joint account that I'd never noticed because I didn't obsess over every transaction. How did you get these? Veronica's not as smart as she thinks she is. She uses the same password for everything, and she leaves her laptop open when she goes to the bathroom. You've been in my house, going through her computer? I've been coming to your house every Friday for 5 years. You think I just sat there eating your food and making small talk? I've been planning this since the day you fired me." The scope of her betrayal was staggering. This woman had been sitting at my dinner table, pretending to be my wife's friend, while documenting everything she could use against us. "What do you want?" "I want to watch your perfect little marriage burn to the ground, and I want Veronica to lose everything she cares about." "Why not just expose the affair yourself?" "Because then I'm the bitter ex-employee with an axe to grind, but you're the wronged husband, much more sympathetic." She pulled out her phone and showed me a video, security footage from Derek's car dealership, showing him and Veronica in his office after hours. The timestamp showed it was taken last Tuesday, while she was supposedly working late. "There's more where that came from. I've been documenting everything for months. And in exchange for this information, I want Derek destroyed. Professionally, financially, socially, the works." "Why Derek? What did he do to you?" Her expression darkened. "He fired me too, 6 months before you did. Apparently I have a pattern of attitude problems." So this wasn't about loyalty or friendship or even revenge against Veronica. This was about Melissa settling scores with everyone who'd ever crossed her. "What makes you think I want to destroy anyone? Maybe I just want a quiet divorce." "Please. I saw the look on your face when you opened that door for Derek yesterday." She wasn't wrong. The old Rob would have handled this quietly, privately, with lawyers and mediation. But the old Rob had been a doormat. The new Rob wanted justice. "What's your plan?" Melissa smiled, and for the first time all evening, it looked genuine. "Phase 1 was getting you angry enough to fight back. Mission accomplished. And Phase 2? We turn Veronica's friends against her. Social isolation. Make her the villain instead of the victim." She pulled out another phone, a burner by the looks of it, and showed me a group text thread. Veronica's inner circle, discussing my controlling behavior and planning an intervention. "I've been feeding them information about your concerning changes. They think you're having a midlife crisis and taking it out on poor Veronica. But you have proof she's cheating, which I'll reveal at exactly the right moment for maximum damage. And Derek? Derek's dealership is already under investigation for odometer fraud. I may have provided some anonymous tips to the state attorney general's office." I stared at her. "You're terrifying." "I'm thorough. Do you want to win this thing or not?" I thought about Veronica's smug face when she announced her girls' trip. About Angela's TikTok calling me boring. About Derek strutting up to my front door like he owned the place. "What do you need from me?" "Just keep doing what you're doing. Be the reasonable one. Let Veronica dig her own grave while I document everything." "And when this is over?" "When this is over, Veronica will have no friends, no boyfriend, and no sympathy. Derek will have no business and no reputation. And you'll have everything you need for the divorce of the century." She stood up, leaving the folder on the table. "One more thing, Rob. That anonymous photo you got last week, that was me. I wanted to see how you'd react." "And?" "You reacted perfectly. Cold, calculated, patient. I knew I'd chosen the right partner." After she left, I sat in the bar for another hour, going through the evidence she'd compiled. It was damning, comprehensive, and clearly the work of someone with both serious computer skills and a complete lack of moral boundaries. But it was also exactly what I needed. I drove home to find Veronica's car in the driveway and the lights on in the guest room. Through the window, I could see her on the phone, pacing back and forth, gesturing wildly. Probably talking to Derek, trying to explain why her husband had acted so strangely when they met, or maybe talking to her lawyer, planning her next move. It didn't matter. Thanks to Melissa, I was 3 steps ahead of whatever Veronica was planning. I parked in the garage and sat there for a moment, thinking about the woman I'd married 18 years ago. The woman who'd supported me when I started my business, who'd celebrated every success and helped me through every failure. That woman was gone. Maybe she'd never really existed. The woman living in my guest room was a stranger who'd been lying to me for months, stealing from our joint accounts and planning to leave me for a car salesman with a spray tan. I could handle a stranger. I could destroy a stranger. The next few days passed in an eerie calm. Veronica went to work, came home, and locked herself in the guest room. I worked on jobs, came home, and locked myself in the master bedroom. We were like hostile roommates, sharing space but nothing else. Angela split her time between both parents, clearly uncomfortable with the tension but trying to stay neutral. I respected that and didn't push her to choose sides. Yet. Thursday evening, I was in my workshop when I heard cars pulling into the driveway. Through the window, I watched Veronica's entire support network march up to my front door like an army of suburban warriors. Her sister Linda, her work friends Jennifer and Kate, her book club buddies, even her mother. 8 women total, all wearing the same expression of righteous indignation. This was the intervention Melissa had warned me about. I opened the door before they could knock. "Ladies, what a pleasant surprise." Linda pushed past me without invitation. "We need to talk, Rob." They filed into my living room and arranged themselves like a tribunal. Veronica emerged from the guest room, looking embarrassed but grateful for the backup. "Rob," Linda began, "we're concerned about your recent behavior." "What behavior is that?" "Changing the locks, moving Veronica's things, isolating her from her support system." "I gave her a new key the day after she got home. Her things are in the guest room where she has privacy. And clearly she's not isolated since you're all here." Jennifer leaned forward. "Veronica told us you've been acting paranoid and controlling. That's not like you." "People change." "Not like this," Kate added. "Not overnight." Veronica's mother, a woman who'd never liked me much to begin with, spoke up. "Robert, I think you should consider counseling. This behavior isn't healthy." I looked around the room at these women who'd known me for years, who'd eaten at my table and celebrated holidays in my house, now treating me like a dangerous stranger. "You want to know what's not healthy? Let me show you." I pulled out my phone and opened the folder of photos Melissa had given me. "This is your daughter," I said to Veronica's mother, showing her a picture of Veronica and Derek kissing in a restaurant parking lot. "This is your sister," I said to Linda, swiping to the next photo. The room went silent as I passed the phone around. Each woman's expression changed from righteous anger to shock to embarrassment. "How long?" Linda asked quietly. "At least 8 months," I replied. "Probably longer." Jennifer looked at Veronica with disgust. "You let us come here and attack your husband when you've been cheating on him?" "It's complicated," Veronica said weakly. "No," her mother said, standing up. "It's not complicated. It's adultery." One by one, Veronica's support network filed out of my house without another word. Her mother was the last to leave, pausing at the door. "I'm sorry, Robert. We didn't know." After they left, Veronica and I stood alone in the living room. "You humiliated me," she said. "You humiliated yourself. I just provided documentation. Those photos are an invasion of privacy. Your affair is an invasion of our marriage." She started crying then, the kind of manipulative tears she'd used to win arguments for years. But they didn't work anymore. I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen, for months, while you were sleeping in my bed and spending my money and planning your future with Derek. I was confused. I felt trapped. You don't understand what it's like to be married to someone who never changes, who never wants anything more than what he has. So you decided to find someone who wanted more? Derek makes me feel alive. Derek makes you feel like you're 25 again. There's a difference. My phone buzzed with a text from Melissa. "Phase 2 complete. Ready for Phase 3? I looked at Veronica, still crying, still trying to make me feel sorry for her. "Pack your things," I said. "What?" "Pack your things and go stay with Derek, or your sister, or whoever will have you, but don't stay here." "You can't kick me out of my own house." "I'm not kicking you out. I'm giving you what you want, freedom to be with Derek without the inconvenience of a husband. The house is half mine. Then we'll settle that in court, along with everything else." She wiped her eyes, and I saw the calculation return to her expression. "Fine, but I want half of everything. The house, the business, the retirement accounts, all of it. We'll see what the judge thinks about that after he sees the evidence of your affair and the money you've been stealing from our joint accounts." Her face went pale. "I haven't been stealing anything. 8 months of hotel bills, restaurant charges, and cash withdrawals I didn't make. That's going to be hard to explain to a divorce attorney." She ran to the guest room and started throwing clothes into suitcases. I helped by carrying boxes to her car, playing the role of the reasonable husband even as I destroyed her life. Angela came home from a friend's house just as Veronica was loading the last of her things. "Mom, what's going on?" "I'm staying somewhere else for a while, until your father and I figure things out." Angela looked at me questioningly. "Your mom wants to explore her options without the complications of married life," I explained. "Are you getting divorced?" Veronica and I looked at each other. "Probably," I said. Angela hugged her mother, then walked over to me. "Dad, are you okay?" "I'm fine, kiddo. Better than fine, actually." After Veronica left, Angela and I ordered pizza and watched a movie. It was the most relaxed evening I'd had in months. Around 10 o'clock, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Rob, it's Derek. We need to talk." "About what?" "About Veronica, and about you backing off." "I'm sorry. I think you have me confused with someone who gives a shit about your opinion. Look, I know this is awkward, but Veronica and I are in love. She's going to leave you anyway, so why make it harder than it has to be? Derek, let me explain something to you. Veronica isn't leaving me. I'm leaving her. There's a difference. What's that supposed to mean? It means she's your problem now. Good luck with that. I hung up and turned off my phone. Angela looked up from her homework. Derek? Derek. What did he want? To negotiate, but I don't negotiate with car salesmen. She laughed, and I realized it was the first time I'd heard her laugh in weeks. Dad, I'm proud of you. For what? For not letting them walk all over you anymore. That night, I slept better than I had in months. The house was quiet, peaceful, mine again. But I wasn't done yet. Not even close. 2 weeks later, I was putting the finishing touches on my new life when Melissa called with an update. Derek's dealership is being audited by the state. Something about systematic odometer fraud and falsified financing documents. How terrible for him. It gets better. Veronica's been staying at his apartment, but his landlord just served them with an eviction notice. Apparently, Derek's been behind on rent for 3 months. And Veronica? Her law firm is reviewing her employment after someone sent them evidence of her using company resources for personal business, including using the firm's private investigator to dig up dirt on you. I had to admire Melissa's thoroughness. She was destroying both of them systematically, professionally, completely. What about her friends? What friends? After that intervention disaster, nobody wants to touch this drama. Linda won't even return her calls. And Angela? Angela's been telling everyone at school that her dad is finally standing up for himself. Apparently, you're something of a folk hero among the divorced dads in town. That afternoon, I was working in my shop when Angela burst through the door, practically vibrating with excitement. Dad, you have to see this. She shoved her phone in my face, showing me a TikTok video. It was Derek, standing in front of his dealership, trying to explain to a news reporter why half his inventory had been repossessed by the bank. The whole thing is going viral, Angela said. Everyone's calling him Repo Derek. I watched the video again. Derek looked terrible. Unshaven, sweaty, desperate. The confident swagger was completely gone. Where's your mother? At the motel on Route 9. Derek's apartment got condemned by the health department. Something about a mold problem. The motel on Route 9 was where people went when they'd run out of better options. It was a long way down from Veronica's law firm salary and suburban lifestyle. Are you worried about her? I asked. Angela considered the question seriously. I'm disappointed in her, but worried? Not really. She made her choices. That evening, I was grilling burgers in my backyard when I noticed a familiar car parked across the street. Veronica's Honda with 2 figures inside watching my house. I waved cheerfully and went back to my cooking. 20 minutes later, they were gone. But they came back the next night, and the night after that. Finally, on Friday, they worked up the courage to approach. I was washing my truck in the driveway when Derek marched up like he still had some authority in the situation. We need to talk, he announced. No, we don't. Veronica deserves better than this. I looked at him, really looked at him. His car was gone, repossessed along with his dealership inventory. His apartment was condemned. His business was under criminal investigation, and he was lecturing me about what my wife deserved. Derek, you're unemployed, homeless, and probably going to be indicted for fraud. What exactly do you think you can offer Veronica? I can offer her love. Love doesn't pay for motel rooms. Veronica got out of the car and walked over, looking like she hadn't slept in days. Rob, please, can we just talk? Like adults? We are talking. You're asking for something, and I'm saying no. I want to come home. The words hung in the air between us. Derek's face went through several expressions before settling on betrayed anger. What about us? He asked Veronica. What about us? You lost your job, your apartment, your business. What did you expect me to do? I expected you to stand by me like I stood by you. You stood by me when it was convenient, when I was paying for dinner and hotel rooms and your rent. They started arguing right there in my driveway, their whole relationship falling apart in front of the neighbors. Mrs. Patterson was probably recording the whole thing from her kitchen window. I kept washing my truck and let them destroy each other. Finally, Derek stormed off on foot. Apparently, Veronica had been driving him around since his car got repossessed. Rob, Veronica said after he was gone, I made a mistake, a terrible mistake, but we can fix this. No, we can't. I'll do anything, counseling, therapy, whatever you want. I want a divorce. You don't mean that. I've already filed the paperwork. You'll be served on Monday. Her face crumpled. But I love you. No, you don't. You love the security I represent. You love having a backup plan when your boyfriend turns out to be a loser. But you don't love me. That's not true. Veronica, you called me boring wallpaper. You told your daughter I was the dullest man alive. You spent 8 months sleeping with Derek and stealing money from our joint accounts to pay for it. That's not love. People make mistakes. And people face consequences. These are yours. I finished washing my truck and went inside, leaving her standing in the driveway. Through the window, I watched her sit in her car for another hour, crying and making phone calls, probably trying to find someone who would take her in, someone who still believed her victim act. But Melissa had been thorough. Veronica's support network was gone, her reputation was destroyed, and her boyfriend had turned out to be exactly the kind of loser I'd always known he was. Around 9 o'clock, Angela came home from a friend's house and found her mother still sitting in the driveway. They talked for a few minutes through the car window, then Angela came inside. Mom wants to know if she can sleep in the guest room tonight. Just tonight. What did you tell her? I told her she should have thought about that before she cheated on you. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. When had she grown up? When had she become this wise, strong person who could see through manipulation and stand up for what was right? I'm proud of you, kiddo. I learned from the best. Outside, Veronica's car finally drove away. She didn't come back.